When first studying physics, you'll typically encounter this equation, which describes the pendulum's period, that is how long it takes to swing back and forth, as a function of its length and gravity. The problem is, there's 4 main dimensions of a pendulum we can change, but only 2 of them seem to affect the period. Today we're going to walk through why that is. Now we're not going to derive this equation. That's a waste of time for most people, since the derivation depends on understanding differential equations, which most people at this level haven't seen yet. Now obviously there's some basic physics to discuss here, but despite the name, a simple pendulum can get pretty complicated pretty quick. So along with going through the mechanics of what's happening, we have to discuss something called the small angle approximation, which we need in order to make this equation work. Now since mass and gravity are so closely related, it's best to look at these 2 quantities together. And to do that, we have to get at the very heart of what makes a pendulum oscillate. That is, forces. Looking at the free body diagram of a pendulum's mass, there's 2 forces acting on the pendulum. First, there's gravity, always acting straight down. And second, there's tension in the string, always acting straight along the string. Now this might look familiar to you. It's identical to the free body diagram of a block sliding down a hill. And just like a block on a hill, the force of gravity has a component acting in the direction of motion, which makes the mass move. When dealing with a pendulum, that component is called a restoring force. Whenever the pendulum is to the left of equilibrium, the force of gravity has a component to the right, restoring the mass back toward equilibrium. And when the pendulum is to the right of equilibrium, gravity acts, at least partially, back the other way. And working through the right triangle trig, this restoring force is given by mg sine theta. And it's this restoring force which makes the mass accelerate. Turning to Newton's second law, or F equals ma, plugging in mg sine theta as the net force, you'll see the mass cancels out, but g, the acceleration due to gravity, doesn't. Think about it. If the mass was doubled, the restoring force would double. But at the same time, there would be twice as much mass to push around, meaning the amount of mass on a pendulum has no effect on its period. However, you'll see, g doesn't cancel out. If we put this pendulum on the moon, where the acceleration due to gravity is less, the pendulum accelerates less, meaning it takes longer to swing back and forth. Moving on to length. Imagine we took 2 masses, one on a long string, which moves in a shallow arc, and one mass on a short string, which moves in an arc that is more curved, or steeper. Each mass is pulled the same angle from vertical and released. Because the angle of the slope is the same in both cases, the 2 masses are going to experience the same restoring force, and therefore the same acceleration. But one mass has a whole lot further to travel than the other, meaning it will take longer to travel back to equilibrium. And more time to equilibrium means a longer period. So as the string of a simple pendulum gets longer, the period will also grow. Last, we get to the angle over which a pendulum oscillates, and this is where things get a bit hazy. See, if we look at the motion of a pendulum in a somewhat simplistic way, we'll see that if we double how far we pull back the pendulum, we double the restoring force, and therefore the acceleration of the pendulum. Going back to kinematics, if we double the distance an object must move, but the acceleration also doubles, then that motion is going to take the same amount of time. So the angle of oscillation shouldn't affect a pendulum's period. But like I said, this is where things get a bit hazy. See, when we double how far we pull back a pendulum, the restoring force doesn't actually double. Remember, the restoring force is given by mg sine theta. So if we double the angle of oscillation, or theta, the restoring force does not double. See, the small angle approximation, which our original equation is based on, requires that we approximate a sine curve as being linear. And I know just how stupid that sounds. A sine curve is clearly not linear, but consider this. If we look at the value of sine around an entire circle, a pendulum doesn't go all the way around an entire circle, or 360 degrees. The best we're going to do is 90 degrees from vertical. And if we let the pendulum oscillate at small angles, then this curve starts to look pretty darn linear, meaning we can approximate this curve as being a straight line over small angles. Hence the name, the small angle approximation. See, all we're doing here is saying that for small angles of oscillation, if the angle of oscillation doubles, the restoring force and therefore the acceleration doubles with it. Meaning as long as we can apply the small angle approximation, then the angle of oscillation doesn't affect period. Now, I know some of you out there are wondering just what angles constitute a quote small angle. And there's no right answer here. The question really is, how accurate do you want to be? But I will tell you this. If you're in most high school or early college physics courses, AP and the College Board, they don't care. It's always a small angle. But this graph shows the percent error of our equation as a function of the release angle. This equation does a pretty good job of approximating the period of a pendulum, even though in reality the equation is more like this. But that's a topic for another day. So on that note, that's all for now.